But first, I'm in the media, and even I feel like, well, particularly I think, because I'm in the media, even I feel like I can't trust anything now that I read or see unless I've checked the facts for myself. And when it comes to the American election, the vote's in just 2 weeks, everything just tells me that the media has never been as untrustworthy as it is now. The spin, the lies, the bullying, the fake news, and now, which is a new twist, simply the refusal to report what's obviously news, but news that doesn't fit the ideology. For 4 years, the mainstream media has pushed a lie. Donald Trump had stolen the last election from Hillary Clinton by colluding corruptly with Russia to steal Clinton's emails. Our ABC was convinced of it.
Tonight, we begin our special three-part investigation into the story of the century, the election of US President Donald Trump and his ties to Russia. The Kremlin's puppet master now has America dancing to his discordant tune. He couldn't have planned it better.
A three-part ABC series on the fake news of the century, because this collusion story was totally false. Zero evidence of it, and even a rigged investigation by a special prosecutor with a team very hostile to Donald Trump came up with nothing after more than a year of digging. But the media still cannot let that collusion lie go. Not if it helps to save Democrat candidate doddery Joe Biden and help him to beat Donald Trump. It starts with a laptop that Biden's son Hunter left for repairs and never picked up, which under the law, of course, means it now belongs to the shop. Now, some of that laptop's contents were then published by the New York Post, and they are ugly. They include evidence that Hunter Biden sold access to his father when Joe was vice president, made a fortune from a Ukrainian gas company, which also, by the way, sent him an email, that's on the laptop, thanking Hunter for arranging a meeting with his vice president dad. And another email on the laptop suggests that Hunter also made a deal with a Chinese company with apparently a cut for his father. And he charged in China $10 million for an introduction. There was also a picture of Hunter apparently in bed with a crack pipe and more. According to former New York Police Commissioner Rudy Giuliani, who's given the emails as a key member of Donald Trump's team. The FBI also has them, by the way. Giuliani says there were also disturbing references to underage girls and has handed the material to police. Now, I don't know if all this is true. I mean, it sounds true. But I do know that if it was not true, Joe Biden would just come out and say so. Blast this smear out of the water. His son would come out and say, that's not my computer. They'd say that. It'd be pretty easy. And the benefit would be that instantly discredit the New York Post. Oh, it's a Murdoch publication that embarrassed Donald Trump, of course, has been talking about this non-stop. And if this was all just a hoax, wouldn't anti-Trump outlets like the New York Times and the Washington Post and CNN and NBC and America's ABC, all of them, wouldn't they have worked day and night to prove it wrong and come out, aha, the Trump campaign is peddling dirt that's actually manufactured. It's wrong, it's rubbish. They fell for a hoax. They'd love it. But none of that has happened. That's what's so telling. Sometimes the silence says so much. In fact, Joe Biden has dodged almost all reporters since this story broke and has refused to answer the questions of the very few reporters even want to ask them.
What is your response to the New York Post story about your son, sir?
I know you'd ask it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign. Right up your alley. They're the questions you always ask.
And as I've told you before, what's even more sinister is that Twitter and Facebook have now joined in to stop voters in America, stop anyone from seeing this story. When you try to click on that story in the New York Post on these emails, Twitter sends a message, or it did for the first several days. It's unsafe, and banned you from retweeting it. And it even locked the New York Post's own Twitter account for days and days. A major media company locked out of its Twitter account. And Facebook said it was restricting distribution. The excuses vary, these are hacked emails. Well, they're not. Or they're stolen. Well, they're not. And we need to verify it. Well, they haven't even bothered. Now, if you listen to the very few mentions on our ABC to this scandal, you will hear the other excuse, the same spin used by many leftist media outlets in the United States to either play down this story or to excuse themselves for not reporting it. And it's this one. You've probably heard this before. It's Russian disinformation. It's that old Russia story again. It's Russia, probably, they say, which excuses them not having to talk about it. Now, that excuse, says America's Director of National Intelligence, is false.
Hunter Biden's laptop is not part of some Russian disinformation campaign. And the FBI has had possession of this. What I can say, without commenting on any investigation that they may have into corruption or fraud, is to say that their investigation does not center around Russian disinformation, and the intelligence community is playing no role with respect to that.
And this man should know. The FBI has had this computer for nearly a year. If it was fake, it would have said it. It would have arrested someone. And there's more. As Miranda Devine has said, and she's covering this story for the New York Post, as she said, much about these emails check out. Take the signature on the work order that authorises this repair shop to fix this laptop. That signature matches Hunter Biden's signature on court papers in a paternity action he had. And Fox News also checked with a third party who was included in one of the email chains on the computer. That third party says, yes, genuine, I got that message too. And Devine says she's also seen correspondence between the computer repairman and Hunter Biden's lawyer. When the lawyer asking, just when they got wind that the New York Post was about to publish it, they're asking this bloke, please return Hunter's laptop and his hard drive. And this is not just some side issue, because this goes straight to Joe Biden himself, the man who could be the next president of the United States, the man backed by all the big media left operations in America. This goes to him, because this laptop, the emails on it, they suggest that his son made a fortune selling access to his father when Joe was vice president. And what's more, they raise the question, was Joe Biden a beneficiary? It's a question that has to be asked. It's important. One email in 2015, just one example, from a Ukrainian company paying Biden's son $100,000 Australian a month, asked him to organise powerful people in the US to close down cases or pursuits against that company, Burisma. And what a coincidence. Later that year, his vice president father, Joe Biden, threatened to withhold $1 billion in aid guarantees to Ukraine unless Ukraine sacked the prosecutor investigating Burisma for corruption. Joe Biden even bragged about it.
Look, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Now, this is significant, right? If this was a story about Trump, put it this way, if this was a story about Donald Trump, one of his sons has been making a fortune with crooked deals selling access to his father, and we have emails that suggest his father might have had a piece of this, you would not hear the end of it. You would not hear the end of it. The ABC, our ABC, ran a 3-part series on a hoax story that Trump colluded with Russia. How big will that series be if it was a real story about Trump being corrupt, it wouldn't be a three-part series, it'd be a 3-month series. But the media does not like news that helps Donald Trump or hurts his enemies. And so this story is stifled, it's ignored, it's distorted. It's just Russian disinformation, you're told. And so the story dies. Or does it? The last presidential debate was held this morning. And as you probably saw, Trump will not let this story go.
I think you have to clean it up and talk to the American people. Maybe you can do it right now.
Vice President Biden, you may respond. 30 seconds.
Here.
And then I do want to follow up on the election security.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my life.
Vice President Biden, there have been questions about the work your son has done in China and for a Ukrainian energy company when you were vice president. In retrospect, was anything about those relationships inappropriate or unethical?
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China. No one said anything he did was wrong in Ukraine.
And the question now is Joe Biden corrupt? I'm not saying he is, but he should answer those very questions that he would be asked if he were Donald Trump.